Hi, my name is Kirsten Oudman, and I'm a Michigan State University master's student studying plant pathology. Plant pathology is the study of crop diseases, and while it's not a well-known area of study, it is a crucial one. Like humans, plants can become infected with diseases caused by fungi, bacteria, or viruses. So plant pathologists are sort of like the doctors of the plant world. We study the epidemiology and spread of diseases, as well as ways to manage diseases and to make sure that our food system stays sustainable. I study a disease called Fusarium root rot, and I'm sure you can guess from the name that Fusarium root rot tends to rot the roots of plants. I specifically study Fusarium root rot on dry beans, such as kidney beans or black beans. And when Fusarium root rot progresses, the beans become so rotted that the plant can't access the water or nutrients it needs to survive. Sometimes Fusarium root rot can lead to plant death. However, most of the times it just leads to severely diminished yields. In Michigan, dry beans are a specialty crop, and we produce the second highest amount of dry beans in the United States after North Dakota. Because dry beans are important to our state's economy, we want to address any challenges that face dry bean production and growers. One such challenge is Fusarium root rot. And so, in order to learn more about Fusarium root rot, my lab began a survey project several years ago where we isolated Fusarium species from infected roots so we could learn which Fusarium species were causing Fusarium root rot in Michigan. To do this, we collected a lot of symptomatic plants and isolated species, and from this, we expected to isolate two species that are commonly known to infect dry beans, Fusarium phaseoli and Fusarium kuhnrostrum. And we did. However, we also identified and isolated a species in high abundance called Fusarium brasiliensis. Fusarium brasiliensis is related to Fusarium phaseoli and Fusarium kuhnrostrum. It's in the same species complex. However, Fusarium brasiliensis had not been identified or isolated in the United States before this point. Fusarium brasiliensis is endemic to South America, specifically Brazil, and in South America it is known to be a soybean pathogen, causing soybean sudden death syndrome. So, not only did we have Fusarium brasiliensis in the United States, but it was also infecting dry beans. In order to learn more about Fusarium brasiliensis on dry beans, I began a field research study last summer where I looked specifically at Fusarium brasiliensis on dry beans in the field. But I also wanted to look at different ways to manage Fusarium brasiliensis. So I looked at two different seed treatments and their efficacy against Fusarium brasiliensis. So in order to do this study, I did a factorial study where I had 3 different levels of inoculum. So I had plants that were not inoculated with any species, and then I had plants that were inoculated with Fusarium brasiliensis, and finally, plants that were inoculated with Fusarium virguliforme. Another related species, however, it's not known to be a dry bean pathogen. And then I looked at 3 different levels of seed treatment. So I had plants that were non-treated, plants that were treated with a standard industry base seed treatment, and then plants that were treated with the standard base plus a new fungicide called Fusarium. Throughout the course of the season, I collected plants at different growth stages and dried them so I could obtain their dry masses. Then I collected photosynthetic parameters. And finally, at the end of the season, I collected root rot ratings from the roots as well as their yield. Later on, I also extracted DNA from the dried root tissue, and using a molecular technique called quantitative polymerase chain reaction, I was able to quantify the amount of Fusarium brasiliensis and the other Fusarium pathogen within the root tissue. So after one field season, I saw that Fusarium brasiliensis significantly decreased the plant mass as compared to the non-inoculated plants. I also saw in both kidney beans and black beans that Fusarium brasiliensis had a significantly higher quantity in the root systems as compared to the plants that were inoculated with the other Fusarium species. As far as the seed treatments go, I saw that the seed treatments significantly decreased the amount of root rot on the roots. I also found that the seed treatments led to a significantly decreased amount of Fusarium brasiliensis in the plants. However, in this 1 year of field studies, I didn't see any significant interactions on the yield. Studies like this give us insight into a world we can't see. They help us learn more about Fusarium brasiliensis and different fungicide seed treatments so that we can better offer growers solutions. At the end of the day, it's all about ensuring that we can produce dry beans for the long run and that we use sustainable management techniques. I hope you learned something, and thank you for listening.